Hello and welcome to another episode of Sailing Melody, where we're in Torquay. Now the reason we're in here is because baby Alaska, our new baby daughter, was born 4 weeks ago. She's 5 weeks premature, so lots and lots of checkups, and the health visitor needs to come and see her a few times. So it's not really fair to expect the health visitor to come over in the dinghy. I'm sure it would be a nice novelty on a day like today, but not so much when it's pouring with rain. So while we're here, we're as normal ticking off a few boat jobs before we move on. It's a fun packed episode which I hope you enjoy, so without further ado, let's get on with the action.
Where are you going, Jack?
Huh?
Where are you going?
Wales.
Wales. We're at the train station.
Hello.
Jack is getting on the train, first time on his own, on a 6.5 hour train ride to Wales.
Yeah.
And I'm putting him on a train to Scotland. And he's got to remember to change at Birmingham, so don't end up in Scotland.
Oof.
Well, that was a bit emotional. I didn't expect to get emotional sending him off. I managed to contain myself on the platform and not embarrass him. Anyway, Jack has gone off and got on a train to North Wales. He's going to meet up with his friends and other parents, and he's going to go camping for the week, and I'll probably join him the last couple of days with the two little ones. But yeah, he's just like, I can't believe, because we document this journey and we make videos of it, we can look back at videos, and I just can't believe, and I'm sure a lot of you can't believe, how much he's changed in the last year. You know, when we left North Wales, he was just a little boy, and he's like a grown man. Although he's only 13, he's nearly 14. He just seems to have like grown into this amazing person. He's always been an amazing kid, but he's just such a cool kid. And I'm just so very proud of him getting on that train on his own and not being worried or stressed. I mean, he's a bit nervous about changing at Birmingham, but like, I know loads of kids his age that would be having a complete meltdown about having to do that. And yeah, proud mum moment.
We're in the process of settling into life aboard with a newborn, so things are a bit up in the air and our episodes are a bit out of sync because we have to fit boat work, filming work and editing work around Alaska and Ollie's needs. So our normal routine of releasing episodes every Wednesday is a bit out of whack. Now there's two things you can do to make sure you catch all of our episodes. One is to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and make sure you click the notification bell. However, we've heard lots of reports lately that YouTube are failing to notify subscribers when an episode comes out. So we have a free tier on our Patreon page now, which will tell you every time we release a new episode. So even if you don't want to become a paid supporter and get the early episodes and the extra content and whatnot, at least if you are a free patron, you will get notified when we release our normal episodes. So head on over to Patreon, the link is in the description for all our videos, and sign up for a free account. This is the autopilot motor. That's the actual motor. This is the gearbox, which I've stripped down, and these are the relays to turn it left and right. Cliff has already kind of pulled this apart and tested all the electrical components, but he didn't do the mechanical side. Obviously I wouldn't expect him to, so I'm going to be rejigging this a bit to run directly from the Raymarine Type 300 course computer. But the motor itself is an absolute monster. And it's in great condition. Everything's fantastic, and look at the inside of the gearbox, it's beautiful. I've decided to ditch the original relays, not that there's anything much wrong with them, but replace them with one of these, which is a double pole double throw DPDT relay for a windlass, so it's perfectly man enough for the job and is suitable for continuous use. One thing it doesn't have is the capacity to stop spikes, because when an electric motor discharges its electrical coil, you can get a spike which can go back into the Raymarine Type 300 course computer and could potentially, or would likely, cause damage. So what I'm doing is installing some of these, which are diodes between the negative pole and the wires coming off the Type 300. Now, diodes are basically an electrical gate that only lets electricity through one way. to read them, I have to use one of these, a little eyeglass, to kind of peer at which direction it goes, and that is the correct direction. So that's my anode and my cathode soldered onto my little blue and red wires. So I've now attached my flyback diodes. Let me show you how I've done that. This is the windlass remote, or the motor reversing relay solenoid thingy bobbit, Jimmy, what's it? Negative pole. These terminals are the plus and minus 12 volt signals that come from the course computer. So I've got the diodes are connected between the negative and each one of these poles, and that prevents the electricity basically going backwards to damage the course computer when the motor stops and discharges itself, if that makes sense. I'm not explaining it very well, but there you go. So that is now going to get mounted in the box with all of the, instead of the original 2 relays. Before I do that though, I just want to do a bit of a bench test to make sure that this actually works. So I'm going to I've rigged all this up, so it's a bit complicated, but I'll explain it in a minute for anybody that's interested. So I'm just going to connect positive to this, and the motor spins clockwise, positive to the other, and the motor spins anti-clockwise. So that's perfect. So if anybody's wondering, and you're probably not, but this is a 4-wire motor, but it's not series wound. It's got 2 pairs of reds and 2 pairs of blacks. 1 pair of red and black goes to the field, and the other pair of red and black goes to the armature. So if you just power up a red and a black, nothing happens. If you pair up both reds and blacks, nothing happens. Well, it does. It turns one direction, but if you reverse the polarity on both pairs of reds and blacks, it doesn't switch direction. You have to reverse polarity on either the blacks or the reds, not both. So that's why I've got the blacks going to permanent live, and the reds the black's going to permanent live and the red's going through the switched relay. These 2 grey wires, incidentally, are part of the feedback system that would have gone to the original rudder position sensor, but I'm using the Raymarine rudder position sensor instead. And with all of that guff out of the way, I'm going to do a quick rebuild, and then hopefully the whole thing will be ready to reinstall. But first, cup of tea. So here's the motor mounted to the gearbox. Now the 4 bolts that hold the motor to the gearbox are rubbish, and 2 of them sheared off. So I've ordered some new long studs, which I'm waiting to arrive. So sadly I can't refill this with oil and put it back in the boat until those are on, and I'm going to make some new gaskets as well. But here it is, turning the gearbox, the motor. Here we go. One direction and the other direction. So that's turning clockwise, that's turning anti-clockwise. These plates here are the clutch, and the way they work, you've got these 2 actuators with little brushes on, sprung brushes, which sit in here, and when you energize these with 12 volts, they activate the clutch plates to clamp together, which will turn the main sprocket. So to demonstrate, I've connected up a couple of cables here from the battery to the clutch, and when I touch this, can you hear this noise? That's the clutch engaging and disengaging. So if I now put that on there and put a nut on it, if I now activate the motor, the motor, you'll see, yeah, that's on, and come on, that's on. So that's engaged the clutch. So everything is now working. All I want to do now is modify this, rather than just have great big long cables coming out of here. I'm actually going to put some plugs on here. So this is where we're up to, and it's pretty much ready to test on the Type 300 and reinstall. I've got two XT60 connectors there, so they're rated for 60 amps. That's more than enough. This line is a standard marine 2-pin cable, and that is the trigger from the brain. This one is power to the clutch, and this one is power to the motor. So that's good. I've just made a little bracket there so that these are chassis mounted, so that there's no strain on them, but they still go through these glands. And I'll probably put a little cover over there. But and then of course the original cover goes over there. It covers the whole thing. So yeah, so that next thing to do, I suppose, is connect it up to the Type 300 and make sure it all works. Main power, clutch, and the trigger from the Raymarine brain. There you go. I still want to make a nice lid for there, but that's just cosmetic, so I'm not going to bother with that just for now. Get it working first before you start fiddling with the cosmetics, just like the rest of the boat.
So while Andy's busy working away on whatever project he's doing on the boat at the moment, I've come up to North Wales to come and collect Jack, and we came a couple of days early and decided to camp. So this Alaska is 4 weeks old today, and this is her first camping trip. We've been here a couple of days. This is our last night. Obviously I haven't filmed because it's a home education camp, so it's full of children, but it is bedtime. Ollie is fast asleep in our van, and Alaska is just chilling out on the bed. We are in a beautiful location. And it's been really lovely to just have a few nice days camping in gorgeous weather. Despite the challenges of doing it with a newborn, it's been fun and lovely, and it's been lovely watching Jack catch up with a load of the home ed friends, and it's been really nice for me to catch up with a load of friends. So yeah, back to the boat tomorrow, which will be great, as we've missed Andy. I might not be from Wales, but I always feel very at home when I get back here. It's just gorgeous. Can you tell what day it is? Having been away for a couple of weeks, having a baby, and Andy being here on his own, and not being able to use the washing machine because we were at anchor and stuff like that. We've got a ridiculous amount of washing, so I'm not going to use our little washing machine on board. I'm going to go to the laundrette. Part of the reason we didn't want a car was because of the cost of keeping a car. Obviously I have it because of my dad at the moment. Oliver, stay in the trolley. However, I refuse to pay £11 a day in the multi-storey by the marina. So Andy's gone up the hill for me, so we don't have to push all this up there to go and get the car. Can the dinosaur walk quietly? Can walk in quietly.
How much rain?
Can Jack swing you?
Yeah.
Ready?
Stop hiding my tummy!
And tell me when you're up to the...
Can you wheel it back to me, Ollie?
Okay.
They're all running away.
Now just cleat it off over the little... Keep going.
That's on my head. Sitting on me.
It's my birthday, so we're sat on the beach in the rain having a barbecue.
This is the first time it's ever rained on your birthday.
It's the first time it's ever rained on your birthday.
Yeah, so in my existence, in my memory of my existence, in every location that I've been on my birthday, it has never rained. Cut back
But
to...
now you're married to me,
No.
everything's different and it rains on your birthday.
Cut back to last year in Milford Haven of me saying it's not going to rain tomorrow, and it didn't rain.
Buddy, try it. Put the blue tape down. Okay, come here.
You want to dig? Honey wants to dig. I'm back from my camping trip in Wales with the kids, and it's time for me to be useful on the boat again. So I've been looking at these decks and they've been starting to look a bit grubby, so I'm going to scrub the deck. So I have Teak cleaner and I've got some Teak brightener, but first of all I'm just going to give it a good scrub with water before using the Teak cleaner. How are we getting on? Well, I have fed Alaska 50 million times and she is cluster feeding, so very slowly. But here is what this bit looks like so far. So this is... Woo! Here is grey deck, which it's not in bad shape. Well, it's not particularly dirty, but it just needs a good clean. So grey. And there's the clean stuff. There's the clean stuff, which will be grey again in a few days. The nice thing about our decks is that they've never been sanded. So I've just been on someone else's boat and I was looking at the decks, and you can see that they're at their end of their life in terms of how many more times they can be sanded. So the good thing about our Teak decks is, one, they've never been sanded. Two, they're not screwed down, so they've all been clamped and sickered down to the deck. And yes, they do need some repairing in places where the stickers come out, but overall they're pretty good. Well, they're fab. They were laid in 2011 and then the boat pretty much sat in a boatyard until we bought her. So they are like brand new decks, but the caulking has some UV damage, so eventually I need to replace all of that. But they are fabulous. Just need a good scrub. So the decks are looking pretty amazing. There's still a few areas that are not quite perfect that I'm going to go over and continue to scrub because it got dark last night, so I couldn't quite see. I'm using like a pretty soft brush to go over it, so I don't want to take all the wood out basically. Lots of jet skiing about today. Look how beautiful they look wet though. How clean is your deck?
How what?
How clean is your deck?
Take your time.
Wait a second. Can you see? Why is it down there?
Now, did I get the autopilot fixed? Well, in fact, no. Once I plugged it into the course computer and the head unit, it was turning left and right, but the relay was doing a really funny click, 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 and the motor was getting hot. Why is this happening? I'll just put it from standby into auto. And can you tell me why this is happening? Right, into auto. That's fine. But it does that kind of weird... Look at that, that's not very nice. That's going one direction. So I've got more thinking to do about that, and I think what I'm going to do is put two heads together and nip up to Andy's, Andy Darlington. You'll have remember him if you're a regular watcher, but he'll give me a hand with that, I think, later on in the week. So there's more to come with refitting the autopilot motor. In the meantime, hasn't Melissa done a fantastic job of our decks? They just look absolutely brilliant. I'm really pleased with them and amazed that after only giving birth 4 weeks ago, she can put so much effort into this kind of labour. She's an incredible woman, as I'm sure you'll all agree. With that, thank you very, very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. We're going to be back next week. As you'll notice, the episodes are a little bit sporadic at the moment because, of course, we're still settling into life with a newborn on the boat, but we're still turning out episodes for your entertainment and delectation. So yeah, see you next week. Thanks for watching, and thanks as always to our incredible patrons and coffee supporters for your amazing support with making these videos. We love you all, and thanks to you guys for your comments and likes and all of that stuff. Keep them coming. See you next week, guys. Bye bye.